Welcome back to another casted game here on Dry Arabia for an exciting diamond level match. In the yellow, we have a Chinese name as the Delhi Sultanate, so today is going to be called our Delhi friend. And on the south side, we have Goodmeh in the blue as the English. So Nightmare sent me a message telling me to check out this game, so I'm really interested to see what he decided to do. And now don't go after him because he's playing English. It's okay to be an English main as long as you're not white tower dropping everyone. You can play English, but you don't have to do stuff like that. Nobody wants to see that, especially me. So if you come across me in the ladder, yeah, I'd prefer you didn't. Let's take a little look at their scouting pass and see what they're doing. So it looks like our Delhi friend has taken a little while to get set up. The Delhi start is always really tricky, but he's been super lucky with that scouting path. A tiny little line there, and he's managed to already pick up 5 sheep. What a lucky boy. So Delhi is really tricky because you want to make sure you get your lumber camp, you get your mosque, you get your mill, because you want to be getting all those upgrades as quickly as you possibly can. So you have to extra gather wood and all of that stuff. So it's slightly slower takeoff as well. So that's why I think his scout was running out. So he's being super conservative, going around the edge of the map. If we take a look over at Goodmeh's side, Nightmare, he is also going on this side. So he's basically got the corner here. So it looks like the Delhi friend is going to be covering the same area. So if Nightmare can go around this top side, he should be able to get the lion's share of the sheep. But at the moment, it's 4 to 5. So we'll have to wait and see. If we take a look at his base, there are no Dark Age Men-at-Arms shenanigans going on here. It's the classic 8 and 3, so I think we're just going to be going for a fast age up. Now, looking at this matchup, this is really interesting, I think, for both players because Delhi can do lots of different things. So I've seen recently a lot more fast castles, some even crazy fast Imperials to try and get those cannon elephants out. But usually it's a feudal all-in or very, very heavy feudal. Whereas the English, where you can see, have started going for the Abbey of Kings because you get the free king. So that can be Abbey of Kings into fast castle. It can be heavy feudal, it can be 2TC, so there's loads of different stuff that both of these guys can do. And oh no, is he going to get caught? Is he going to make it? Let's watch. Oh, and he's down. Oh dear. And those sheep are trying to get away, slowly pulling away, but it looks like Goodmeh's scout is there ready to hoover them all up. So those 6 sheep are going to be going over to the English side, converting to the English Empire. You are welcome, sir. Off you go. So it looks like we're going to be seeing the age up soon. I imagine we're going to be seeing the Tower of Victory, but the House of Learning has been given an increased buff in the most recent patch, so it's reduced the cost to Dome of the Faith, sorry, is what I meant. These 50% reduction on scholar cost, so that actually is allowing for much more interesting fast castle plays that I know my friend Power Steve is definitely going to be loving because he loves a good fast castle as the Delhi. If we take a look, we have got the wheelbarrow off to the side, getting on that mill, and then we've got our first farm down. So obviously the English having that amazing little buff that their farms are half price, so they never have to leave the amazing safety of their machine gun TC, which everyone loves to play against, I can tell you from experience. So it looks like Delhi are not on gold, only 1 at the moment, so whether they're just going to be getting enough for 2 of those extra scholars, we'll have to wait and see what he is cooking. But very heavy on wood and food at this stage, and those researches ticking away nicely. So if we take a look over at Goodmeh's side, he's still gathering up wood, but not heavily enough for any production yet, and we don't see anything going on with the stone, so it doesn't look like there's going to be a TC popping up anytime soon. So, and the king now obviously is a little bit slower. It's at almost 50 seconds, so we're going to have to wait and see where he can poke and do some damage, but he's going to have to be really careful of those Delhi spears because with the little short wall tricks they can also pull, that's pretty dangerous. There's an outpost going out on the deer now, which is an interesting choice. Also, with the changes to Pro Scouts, you can see a lot of Delhi players going for that as well, because it takes a long time unless you have more scholars. But the interesting thing is it's free. So you don't have to invest anything into it, and you probably have stables anyway because you're making Ghazi Raiders. Even with that 5 health reduction in the feudal age, I don't think people are going to stop making Ghazis, to be perfectly honest. So that tower going up, and Goodmeh has seen it, and he's going to be poking that, so the king is going to know exactly where to pop out. And sire, you have entered the battle. So look at him charging away, ready to try and find some some damage with that glowing crown above his head. What an amazing little figure there. If only he could pick up the relics and get the glow through the center, that would be next level amazing. So there we go. We do see Ghazi in queue, so a stables has been dropped down for Delhi, and he's going to be trying to do some pokage and also to hit the king, because the Delhi Ghazis do really well against the king because they're slightly faster. If we take a little look at the movement speed, we can see it's 1.88, whereas the king is a knight speed, so he's going to be 1.67. So that means that with the extra heavy attack bonus that they get again, so +2 heavy, they're going to be able to take out that king much more easily. So all of the techs coming in, can we see we do have 2 scholars in queue, and 1 has actually popped into the stables, but the king still doing a lot of damage there and having to run away now, and this is where he's going to get tailed by those Ghazis until the end of time. But if we can see, there is a stables down on this side, so we can see some more horsemen coming out to go with the king. And I really love this play from Goodmeh, because the king having that mobility, if he's with infantry, he can't really take advantage of that healing as much as he could, whereas now all of these cavalry guys can run away, and then once they're out of combat, we'll start getting that little tick up of healing, which is very, very nice. Double blacksmith for Delhi, so that means he's going to be trying to get his military techs in as quickly as possible, and a nice little bit of horse micro up at the top. But even more horses in queue, so we're going to be pumping those out, and it looks like, if we can see, no pro scouts in queue for him at all, so definitely Delhi aren't planning on doing any pro scout shenanigans, which I think is definitely a waste considering it's free. But look at this, the king's going to have to be really careful now. He's healing up slowly, but you definitely don't want to lose that free investment. It's like the ABBA military wing. You've got to keep those units alive because they're such an amazing free investment. If you've got to remake the king, then it's just going to cost you a lot of resources. We can see eco-techs coming in for Goodmeh at this stage, so his eco is going to be pumping away nicely, and potentially going for a slow castle age behind this horseman cavalry attack. So as Nightmare said to me when he told me to look at it, it's going to be the Riders of Rohan. I can't think of a Lord of the Rings pun for meh, not related to horses anyway, but look at these guys charge. If we just take a look as they run in, trying to get those villagers on the berries, but not quite keeping that damage. Ghazi's trying to come in for the back to snipe that king, but just getting caught on the pathing around the blacksmith there. Goodmeh using that ability, but those horses are charging in now, a huge number, so the king's going to have to be really careful that he doesn't get caught out of position. But looking at the military numbers now, fairly even with the horse numbers if you take the king out of the equation, but his health is still in a nice juicy spot. Horses turning around. Oh, that flip round was brilliant, keeping those horses off the king so that he can live to fight another day, because when he gets hit, he's going to be getting like 14 extra damage just from all of those horses together with the bonus they get, plus their base damage. So it's something you really don't want to be coming across. We can see both players just investing heavily in the cavalry, but archers coming out for Delhi, so they're going to be going for the classic horse archer combination. So the king trying to run away. Are you going to make it? Get into that healing aura, and that's going to help him get out. But if he's in combat, he doesn't get it. So now there we go. We should see him pop up and get a lot of health back. This is now not a good position for Delhi to be fighting in because he's so close, but Goodmeh's going to have to be really careful to keep these horses alive. Pulling them back to the abbey would be a really good idea to keep those numbers, but his eco is definitely in a much stronger position than Delhi at this stage. And also Delhi's going to have to be really careful because he's going to have to be out on food, and almost as though I said it, he's moved out onto the berries over here, so that's going to be very easily raidable, whereas Goodmeh, although he's a greedy boy, he's gone out on the deer here. He also has the safe position of farms at home, so if he is getting pushed, he can go back and he's got a secure food eco there. So he clearly ran out of sheep, and he's scrambling to find some, and he found some venison and he found some grain, so it's a nice little combination there for him. Maybe some bread to go with his venison. So the king using his healing ability there, and this is one of the advantages that I really like to see with the cavalry, that these guys can charge around now out of combat and then all heal up. And even the king, his health is slowly popping up, which is really nice. Potentially archers are not the right play, I would say, at this stage, because he's gone so heavy into cavalry. I would say probably spears to go against these, personally, but we'll have to wait and see whether his archers pay off, because if Goodmeh can get one little catch on those archers, then the military numbers for Delhi are going to really drop off. The king going to try and get those archers there, but just getting caught out by the horses. And there we go, so we've got a scholar now healing them up, so both players using the healing ability of their civilizations to the max. Getting those sacred sites now and actually doing the classic wall off, that's a very big wall. That's I maybe would have tried to go a little bit smaller. Since that most recent patch, I think it was at the start of Season 8, where you can wall a bit closer. But yeah, so the archers are clearly there to build walls on the field, but they're gonna... Oh no, that's a big catch for Goodmeh. All of those archers being taken and getting caught in the walls. Oh no, this is carnage, absolute carnage. So the English forces pulling back now as the horsemen and the scouts at the back getting caught out of position, and now the Delhi player is going to know about Goodmeh's villagers over here, so he's going to have to be really careful that they don't get caught, and they are. Oh no, we don't want to see it. Quick, run boys, run. Oh dear, that's going to be a huge hit, and there we go. Goodmeh coming in from the back, trying to get the scholar, and a surround on those horses. So who's going to come out on top in this case? We've got healing only on the Delhi side because it's in combat, so this is where Delhi scholars are going to be able to take advantage of that healing better. Hopefully Goodmeh can target him out, because that's huge value for the Delhi side, but he's really getting those numbers down, and that's a huge take for him, and he's come out really on top there. So if we flick the camera back round to the standard position, so nobody's putting in the comments that their eyes have gone funny, then we can see, but that scholar is going to be going down, flopping down, there we go, and that's where the archers are going to be hit as well. This is crazy. So now this is where the military numbers are really starting to go in Goodmeh's favour, and he's out on these exposed berries. Oh, that's not a good position for him to be in. Is the knight going to peel off and get the villagers? We're going to have to see, but there we go, see. And because the horses were running away, they're not considered in combat, so all of these guys were healing up as they charged in, which is amazing. So they're going to be able to run away. And this is something also that players need to be really careful of. From here, if you attack a villager or something on the other side of the map, that's then considered they are in combat and they won't get the healing ability. So if we take a look from Nightmare's perspective, you're going to see that he's not using that. He's just going to be using the standard move, or a move, so they're not in combat all the time. So horse numbers coming up. We definitely want to see some spears from the Delhi side. I think that would definitely work. And villagers getting caught out on the wood line there. So only one gone down so far, but I think that number is going to be increasing to two now. And this is where it's horse on horse on horse. I think at the moment everyone's loving the cavalry play, and I am a very big fan. So now these villagers are trying to go out on this greedy deer here. Are they going to get caught out by the cavalry? But doesn't matter if they do. Just sneaking around, because he knows that they're also going to be here, running into the tower, but there's only 5 slots, and so this is where, there we go, he's going to be able to take out that tower, no problem whatsoever, and those villagers are going to be taking the hit for it. So now splitting off his forces, trying to get those villagers and taking on the Delhi horses at the same time. We can see now that the Delhi numbers are starting to look pretty powerful. Who's going to come out on top? The king really tanking up a lot of damage in the center of that, and so the English forces doing a tactical retreat, and it's very, very close, and I think losing all of those units would be a big loss for Goodmeh at this stage. But a second raid coming in and catching the villagers on the back. Oh, what an amazing little peel off there. So 29 horses. That fight didn't really go in Goodmeh's favour, but because he'd picked off a raiding force at the top. Really nice. And now the Delhi forces are chasing the king like crazy. King has gone down. He served his empire, and now his king's god are going to be taking out the Delhi forces in retaliation. All of those low health horses, the Ghazi are definitely not going to make it. They need to go back and heal up with those scholars. And we can see now that the raiding party is at the back, and it's going to be going around and hitting that deer very, very soon. But Delhi calls it. What an amazing king play. The cavalry from the English taking it. And if you love this game, make sure you watch till the end of the video because I have a recommendation of another Nightmare special that you've got to check out next. And here we are then, just before GG was called, as the Riders of Rohan take down the Delhi Sultanate. So let's zoom out, bring up the interface and give it a cheeky pause and we can check out their base. So if we take a look over at Nightmare's side, Goodmeh's side, he is setting up his farms nice and slowly. No huge farm transition here, which I think is really, really good from him. You often see a lot of English players just suddenly dropping down like 30 farms. Obviously, he has the wood, but being able to drop down some more production or other things I think is definitely the right call. He's spending his food and gold very nicely, and he's also out on these deer, and he was also gathering these ones up as well. So pushing out while he's got map control I think worked really well for him. On the other hand, Delhi always have the problem that they get the efficient production. You can put a scholar in there and you can produce Ghazis much more quickly. So 13 seconds compared to... we can't see because he has them both garrisoned up, but can produce them much more quickly. The problem is they run out of food very quickly as well, and they don't have anything that can really help them with that farm transition, so they're forced, if they want to keep producing, to go out onto the Gaia, whereas English don't. And so as soon as they have to start dropping farms, then they're in real trouble. And obviously he didn't go for pro scouts, which means he couldn't pull any of the deer back into the safety of his base. So he had a tower over here which got burned down very, very quickly, and he was also trying to sneak out over here onto these, but as you can see, there's a wolf that's putting a stop to that. The old MPV wolf is back again, and I think going for solid Ghazis into archers is potentially not the best play when you're up against mass cavalry. I would have said Ghazi's spear would have probably been better, although you don't really want to force English into longbows. He needed something that's going to really sort of counteract that ability. I also think trying to go for the sacred site and walling it in is maybe just a bit of a waste at that stage. He had a lot of scholars, but I think just going and putting a scholar over here and pinging it with your units to defend and then running away. With all of these cavalry around, there was no way he was going to be able to hold that even with a couple of walls. It was only going to take a couple of seconds, really. Also, I don't know why Nightmare's going for siege engineering. He has no infantry that can actually build it, but, you know, let's not question that. We can also see that he's matched all the eco techs and the military techs that the Delhi has. So there's no advantage there from the 3 techs either. Also, the healing was really nice. So the scholars were able to heal these guys up in combat, but there was only one out and they got taken out, which is a big loss. Whereas Goodmeh was able to keep his king alive for the majority of the game, which kept his cavalry numbers very, very strong. So if you think 30 against 12 at the end. Also, not many villager deaths, but a lot of idle time. So if we look at the economy, the English economy is really significantly stronger. And if he was pushed, he could just come back here, build a load of farms and live his best English life. So this went really, really well for him. So if you want to enjoy more of this kind of content and keep watching your Nightmare adventure, then I've picked a recommended game for you in the cards above, and you can watch that next to keep things going. But have a great day, best of luck on the ladder, smashing it up to Conqueror, and I will see you next time.